Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. It is. As Captain Curtin says, good morning, friends, allies, and warriors. Reminder, Tuesday is Monday's ugly sister. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, Cynthia, good morning. How are you, JW? Yes, morning, all you nuts. The ugly trucking. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brenda. Brenda, yes. How are you doing? We got the ugly truckling. We got bad duck. It says good evening, good morning, whatever time I have no clue anymore. Save me. It's good to see you. Hey, Roxanne. Oh yeah, we got some pretty interesting news for you guys today because it's Wednesday. We had a fun stream last night with Danielle and Kaiser Pineapple, and of course Valhalla Waits, where we worked on getting getting his uh, getting his intro music, and the chat voted on some pretty good songs. And it's gonna be good. I've got to do a couple of edits on one of them, but I think it'll turn out good whenever it's all said and done. It'll be pretty awesome. So here we'll just start kicking into the news here. The USS the the SS, sorry, the SS United States, a historic ship that still holds the transatlantic speed record. It's set more than 70 years ago, must leave its berth on the Delaware River in Philadelphia by September 12th, federal judge says, which this is pretty interesting in a weird kind of way. So, the decision issued Friday by U.S. District Judge Anita Brody culminated a years old rent dispute between the Conservancy and that oversees, not over ocean seas, but overseas, overlooks, takes care of the 1,000-foot ocean liner and its landlord, Penn Warehousing. It stemmed from the August 21st decision by Penn Warehousing, double the ship's daily dockage to 1,700, an increase the Conservancy refused to accept. The Conservancy continued to pay its previous rate set in 2011. Penn Warehousing terminated the lease in March 2022. After much legal wrangling, Brody held a bench trial in January, but also encouraged the two sides to reach a settlement instead of leaving it up to her. And there's the ship. That looks like it really has not been taken care of. It's looking pretty rough. When so the judge ultimately ruled the Conservancy's failure to pay the new rate did not amount to a contract breach or entitled Penn Warehousing to damages, but she also ruled that under Pennsylvania contract law, the berthing agreement is terminable at will with reasonable notice, which Penn Warehousing had issued in March 2022. The judge's decision gives us a very limited window to find a new home for the SS United States and raise the resources necessary to move the ship and keep her safe. The Conservancy's president and granddaughter of the ship's designer told the Philadelphia Inquirer. Besides finding a new home, the Conservancy must also obtain funds for insurance, tugs, surveys, and dock preparations for a move. Best hope of everyone involved was that the Conservancy could successfully repurpose the ship, but after decades of decay and delay, it's time to acknowledge the unavoidable and return Pier 82 to productive commercial service. Christened in 1952, the SS United States was once considered a beacon of American engineering, doubling as a military vessel that could carry thousands of troops. On its maiden voyage in 1952, it shattered the transatlantic speed record in both directions when it reached an average speed of 36 knots, or just over 41 kilometers an hour. The Associated Press reported from aboard the ship. On that voyage, the ship crossed the Atlantic in 3 days, 10 hours, and 40 minutes, besting the RMS Queen Mary's time by 10 hours. To this day, the SS United States holds the transatlantic speed record for an ocean liner. It became a reserve ship in 1969 and later bounced to various private owners who hoped to redevelop it, but eventually found their plans to be too expensive or just poorly timed. It loomed for years on South Philadelphia's Delaware waterfront. So that's it for that wonderful ship. They will be moving it and sending it elsewhere. It's pretty crazy. Anybody in that area knows about this ship. Well, might just say, well, it's probably a really bad eyesore. It's a really bad eyesore. Oh my God. It's so crazy. Good morning, Funston. Good morning. Yeah, it's a piece of shit. Exactly. Good morning, Christine. How are you doing? Glad you could make it in. Hope everything's going well for you. Oh man, we had this. We've been talking about this because everybody. It seems like absolutely everybody is using this right here, and I hate whenever it's not. People think that are so anti technology and oh, the AI is going to take over the world and it's going to do all of this stuff. You know, it's sure, sure, it's got some good parts to it. There's some bad parts to it, but it's still just a tool. And if you use it for bad, well, then bad things are going to happen. But you don't have to use AI for bad things. Use the tool for good. I mean, you could just as easily, use a hammer to build a house as you can to destroy it. I mean, why not use the tool to build a house and do something wonderful? Another day in Amish paradise. I mean, why not? Oh wow, it's parked outside a music venue in the river. Wow, damn, it's got to be crazy. And it just looks like it needs to get a good cleanup on it. Looks like it's rusting out from the inside out. That ship does. So this is supposedly making world news. AI could help spread false and misleading information on the Holocaust. UNICEF reports warn. Huh. Well, let's get real about AI. That's what the little thing says here. So the United, not the United Nations, but just an agency within the United Nations is warning that developments in artificial intelligence could spawn a new surge in Holocaust denial. Well, it could do a lot of things. It could spread a surge in Trump denialism. It could spread a new surge in Biden denialism. It could spread a new surge in Muslimism and all these other kinds of things because, well, it could do anything that you want it to do. Doesn't mean that will. It's horrible. A report published Tuesday by UNESCO concludes that AI could result in false and misleading claims about the Holocaust spreading online. Why? Either because of the flaws in the programs or because hate groups and Holocaust deniers will intentionally use AI programs to generate content that falsely calls into question the murder of the Jews and other groups by the little, you know, double snake people. So, of course, it could do this. A lot of things could happen, but will it be effective? God, I hope not, because then you run into other problems that you don't want to deal with there. Like, for example, it could say that Shizzy is a horrible person. AI could tell you just about anything. Not that it wouldn't be a lie. Just, it could tell you anything you want it to. Why are the, does I know why they write stories like this because it is about getting people in a panic of all the things that could happen. This is the chicken little the sky is falling bull crap. It could do lots of things. If you can keep your wits about you, you can say, yeah, it could. I mean, can it make me coffee? No. I don't see some sort of artificial intelligence being able to make me coffee and bring it to me. Um, can it make your hamburger? No. I mean, sure, you can get a robot to possibly cook your hamburger, but is it going to be how you like it cooked? I mean, It is amazing. Robot told me to. That's why he gets all the tail feathers he wants. Exactly. Yeah, they're bad AI ducks or horrible bad AI ducks. Time to make new reef. Make a new reef. That's what I think they should do with that ship. One of the biggest concerns they could be used to be create so-called deep fakes of, and it could be, sure, deep fakes of the Holocaust, realistic images of videos that could be used to suggest that it didn't happen or was exaggerated. That could lead to greater anti-Semitism and a lack of understanding of a key moment in 20th century history. The report noted that some AI assisted programs allow users to interact with simulated historical figures, including the prominent Yazis like the little German guy with the horrible mustache. If we allow the horrific facts of the Holocaust to be diluted, distorted, or falsified through irresponsible use of AI, so now they're why is the AP targeting the Jews? I don't understand. Why are you targeting the Jews and getting them all worried? Now the Jewish community is going to say, "Oh my God, AI is coming to take us away. It's coming to take us away." Widespread use of AI for assistance in education, research, and writing are increasing the likelihood that unreliable data. Well, they've been doing that unreliable data. We didn't need AI for that. They've been feeding horrible things into AI to make it think that things didn't happen as they did. Of course, things are being fed into the news every day that make it sound like things happened that didn't. I mean, all you have to do is read AP's news today, which we'll be getting into that, which is, you know, well, is it true or is it just because you made it up? I mean, really? The report called on tech companies to establish ethical rules for the development use of AI. Well, they have no say so over what people use AI for. It's just like telling someone, well, you can only use this tool for one thing. Tell that to a 5-year-old. Tell that to a 5-year-old that you can only use this one tool for this one particular thing. It's like telling someone, well, you can only use a Phillips head screwdriver to put in screws. Why? Why would you use a Phillips head screwdriver just for that? Why can't you use it to remove screws? I mean, sure, you make the rule of, oh, you can only put screws in with it. Well, what about whenever you need to take the screws out? Do you have to use a different one? Oh, well, no, use some common sense. Well, no, you're setting the rules. We shouldn't be putting rules on anything because you will just find people that will break the rules or work their way around the rules. Well, thank you, Funston. I try to make them more interesting. Ah. So, of course, for the development of USAI to reduce the chances of unreliable information and to prevent bad actors. No, bad actors are always going to be bad actors, and this is the problem with your nanny states where they come in and they say, well, we're going to ban firearms. That those we're going to take firearms away from you. You're not allowed to use them because they're bad tools. They do bad things to people. Well, so so you're telling me that firearms can't be used for good? So if you're telling me that firearms are bad because all they do is, delete people, well, what about saving a woman that might be getting raped? Or what about that it's able to remove a bad actor from a situation or protect yourself from a bad situation or get your food? So you're saying that they're only bad. Well, if you're saying that they're only bad, then why do police officers allowed to carry them? Because bad actors are always going to be bad actors, and they're going to do bad things. That's why. Good morning, Welsh lady. You've had fun this morning. Ooh, tell me all about it. Is it my voice that getting you all worked? I hope you're having fun this morning. Good Lord Almighty. Feel that temperature as oh my God, I can't believe that was sent to me today. Oh, uh, oh, excellent. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like your take on that. I just now saw this. Well, we'll go over it. We'll go over it. So not this moment. And I've got a couple of things I've got to do. So yeah, what is there we go. It is I think I did that right. Horrible at this sometimes. Typing one-handed always sucks. I'm pretty bad. I'm pretty bad. We will go to this and that there. And I've been working on getting some of these things done to, make my day just a little brighter. And hoping that go and there we go. I know because now I'm just rambling to myself. I do that. I do that sometimes. All right, here we go. All right, another day, another dollar. What's up, friends? Yeah, uh, I have bomb med your Discord. Oh, okay. No, that was pretty cool. I really liked your take on that. I'll actually probably pull that stuff up later. I love this morning coffee. What is up, Tinkle Tits McGee? Another day, another dollar. What is up, friends? Good to see you. Well, it's tits up. That's what's going on this morning. Let me see. And of course, we have another judge that made a decision, and it says judge orders railway to pay Washington tribe nearly 400 million for trespassing with oil trains. Wow. Oil trains? Does this mean they were trains made out of oil? Well, Seattle BNSF Railway must pay nearly 400 million to Native American tribe in Washington state. A federal judge ordered Monday after finding the company intentionally trespassed when it repeatedly ran 100-car trains carrying crude oil across the tribe's reservation. Last year, the judge, Robert Lancet, the U.S. district judge, that railway deliberately violated the terms of a 1991 easement with the I'm not even going to try to say that Swinomish tribe near north of Seattle that allows trains to carry no more than 25 cars. Today, the judge held the trial earlier this month. We know this is a large amount of money, but it just reflects the enormous wrongful profits that they gained using the tribe's land day after day, week after week, year after year over our objections. When there are these kinds of profits to be gained, the only way to deter future wrongdoing is to do exactly what the court did today, make the trespasser give up the money it gained by a trespass, which I agree with. A tribe which has about 1,400 members sued in 2015 after BNS dramatically increased without the tribe's consent the number of cars it was running across the reservation so that it could ship crude oil from the Bacon Formation in and around North Dakota to nearby refinery throughout cross-sensitive marine ecosystems along the coast over water that connects with the Shalish Sea, where the tribe has treaty-protected rights to fish. The oil is easier to refine into fuel, so yeah, we already know that. Last year, two engines derailed on the land, leaking an estimated 31,000 gallons of diesel fuel into near Padilla Bay. Wow. Yeah, I would be suing every hill living out of them too. In reality, the judge wrote BNS made far more than 32 million in post-tax profits, but adding all of that up would have added hundreds of millions more what was already a large judgment against the railway. Okay. So why wouldn't they just why wouldn't they just put this company out of business if they're doing something so horrible? I mean, doing something so horrible, then why would they allow them to continue on? Just like these people right here. I mean, come on. Toxic garlic should have prompted the EPA to warn against gardening near Ohio derailment. Are you kidding me? I should become a property rights attorney. Yeah. Well, no, you just become a dirt lawyer at that point. I mean, and there's some fine things about that that good luck. Good luck. I mean, you'll just be doing nothing but running yourself in circles. It's crazy. So it, it- the place that Joe Biden refused to visit, the site of all of this, all of these toxic chemicals being dumped into the soil. I mean, did he forget about Palestine? The EPA should conduct additional soil studies near the site of a toxic train derailment in Ohio and warn people it might not be safe to garden after independent testing showed high levels of chemicals in locally grown garlic. Watch group said Thursday. A petition filed in in the federal agency, the nonprofit Governmental Accountability Project, argues that the EPA should have followed up on the tests of gardens and crops in the city where Norfolk Southern derailment took place. It is unconscionable that the EPA has not conducted its own testing on garden crops in East Palestine, nor have they sampled for dioxide in the home produce. The nonprofit group's senior environmental officer, Leslie Paisley, told the AP in advance of the petition filing, yet the EPA has told residents to garden and eat home produce as usual. I don't know that the EPA told them anything. They probably just said, yeah, it's safe, whatever. The AP sent emails to the EPA. Well, good job for you on those officials seeking comment about the petition Thursday. Well, the agency's been telling people it's safe to garden since nearly 3 months after February 2023 derailment, based on tests conducted by state agricultural officials at 31 locations around town and on surrounding farms. The offices tested winter wheat and malted barley, pasture grasses, and rye from the area farms. At least 9 dead, dozens injured as trains collide in India's Darjeeling district. At least 4 people, 27 injured. So this right here should be a mass killing. I'm just saying, whenever they're saying 4 people killed, that's a mass killing. IRS decides people who got money from Norfolk Southern after Ohio derailment won't be taxed on it. Don't really care. That's not my problem. Residential soil sampling results are typical ranges for the area, and garden plants are generally considered safe to eat. This is what the EPA said to the community. In the past, agency officials have dismissed independent tests cited by the Government Accountability Project, pointing to their concerns with quality control. That right there, dear children, is why you don't always have to trust the EPA, and you also don't have to trust the Government Accountability Project that they might or might not be. Well, let's put it this way: how long do you think it will be before they blame Trump for this, for the train derailment? I mean, how long do you think it'll be? It's like because he is so powerful, he commits acts of God. Just like, come on. Ah, so the tests were performed by Scott Smith, a businessman and an inventor who, since his own factory was inundated by tainted floodwaters in 2006, has been on a crusade to help communities affected by chemical disasters. Well, let's look up this government accountability project. And I'm just curious who they are. Let's find out who they are. It looks like they're a whistleblower um, group here. Oh, this is interesting. I love it. They're using all this what Adobe stock stuff for their pictures. Oh, yeah. The first thing that pops up on their site is a whistleblowers are democracy's guardrails. Well, I can see what this group is about. This is their thing right here. Issues. Democracy Protection Initiative, corporate and financial accountability, environment, energy, and climate change, government accountability, immigration, international whistleblowers' rights, national security, public health. Let's look at their immigration issues. What do they have? Since 2018, in the wake of Trump's administration's zero tolerance immigration policy of deterrence, which separated children from their families at the border. Now we get into the heart of where these people are. They're conspiracy theorists that make up shit. That is the hardest part about it because all of they're talking about in 2018, go back, go back even further to Obama that created those particular places that are now being shut down. Now they're displacing them all over the damn place. Oh my God. This is now pay close attention to this group because you're going to see more and more. They must be getting funding from someone, either 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 this company is funding money to the AP. They're sending money to the AP. This nonprofit is sending money to the AP to help promote their stories and make them seem like a legitimate group, or the AP is sending them money to help promote stories that they're making. If you do some looking at it, I guarantee you they're going to cite a lot of AP and a lot of left wing stuff. Associated Press. Oh, look, Highwire. Oh, Status Coup News. Tech Target. Ideas Stream. WTAE. EPA whistleblower. The Jen Carlton show. Don't know who Jen Carlton is. Air Insight, the NC News line, Washington Post, ABC News, WKBN, whistleblowers questions EPA use, Fox News, whistleblower alleges EPA sniffer, political ABC, devastated, The Hill, World Justice Project. These 30 World Justice Challenge finalists are defending rule of law. So either they're sending money to get these news articles to make them sound like they're legitimate, or as acting as a legitimate actor, because it sounds to me like this group right here is going to be one of those nonprofit groups that does a lot of work for a certain political party. And I mean, you can just look down at the recent post, Martha Mitchell effect. The ICE detention center that held families closes in Dilley, Texas. The AP citing toxins have warned about chemicals in Ohio derailment. So this supposed watch group sounds to me like they're getting funding from people. So yeah, the EPA is probably questioning their independent studies because they can't verify it or duplicate the same tests. EPA officials, they can't tell if this data is valid without reviewing all the reports detailing his methodology and results. Smith offered last summer to share his files with the agency, but only if it would share its information with him. And that's not how this works. The EPA said that previous testing conducted by contractors hired by the railroad, it did not show high levels of dioxins or other chemicals outside the train derailment site after the initial evacuation orders were lifted, and therefore additional tests in individual gardens and yards weren't needed. The only place the EPA reported finding high levels of cancer-causing dioxins was in the area immediately around the derailment about 2 weeks after the crash. That soil was included in the nearly 179,000 tons of material dug up and disposed of last year. But where did they dispose of it? But some residences aren't taking any chances. Marilyn Figley didn't dare plant a garden last year after the derailment, even though she and her husband do everything they can to be sufficient, including gardening and raising chickens for meat and eggs. She did harvest some garlic after the derailment and that she had planted previously. However, some of it had levels of dioxins more than 500 times higher than the sample of garlic grown and harvested from someone else's yard the year before the derailment. Bigley said they decided to plant a garden again this year after using one of her husband's tractors to remove the top 3 inches of soil and replace that with fresh dirt. I'd rather eat dioxins than die of starvation. What? Do you eat garlic to cure starvation? Hmm. Dioxins have been a key concern for East Palestine residents ever since officials decided to blow open 5 tank cars of the derailment tray and burn the vinyl chloride contained within them. The chemical is used to make a variety of plastic products, including pipes, wire, packaging materials found in polyvinyl chloride plastic, better known as PVC. Thousands of residents had evacuated their homes temporarily after the derailment, blah, blah, blah. Last summer, local farmers market made a point of bringing in produce from several states away because of all the worries about anything grown in the area. I mean, all of these kinds of things they're trying to make Biden look good with. Because the news has a way of twisting the truth. And what they'll do is they'll twist it to say, "Oh, well, look, the it was because of Trump's policies that this train derailed." No, it was because the Norfolk Southern screwed up. That's the best way to put it. Because there was at least a 6-month period where they talked about every single train derailment that happened. Smith has visited East Palestine more than 2 dozen times since the derailment to test soil water for dioxide and other chemicals. He's not a scientist by training. Okay. So if he's not a scientist by training, but he's going around traveling to chemical disaster sites for years, his testing is reviewed by a team of scientific advisors. Okay, we also have a guy that goes in front of Congress talking about UFOs being like this horrible, thing that's happening and the grays are coming and all this kind of crap. And he's surrounded by top UFO scientists. Okay. Just because you're surrounding yourself with top scientists does not mean that those top scientists are even correct. Remember that some of these top scientists used to believe that a certain race of people were less intelligent than others because they could measure the size of their head. Really? These were the top scientists of the time. Let's talk about how many times scientists have been proven wrong. Let's talk about Fauci, telling people to wear masks to not contract AIDS. Why don't you talk about the top scientists of these? These were top scientists that were telling people not to wear that were telling people to wear masks to help prevent the spread of AIDS. Wow. Smith is also an inventor and it holds 25 patents, including for specialized foam and repels water and absorbs oil, which he developed at his former company, Select Technologies. He has offered to sell the product in some of the affected communities he has visited, but he says he isn't making a profit on his work in East Palestine. Well, of course you're not, because nobody wants to buy your snake oil. Just because you hold a patent in something doesn't mean that it works. You can hold a patent in just about anything. All you have to do is submit a patent into the patent office, and it becomes patented. Doesn't mean that it works. Doesn't mean it doesn't do what it says it does. Well, sure, it might, but to what level? And there's always a scientific process that you have to go through that you may not have gone through. It's so crazy. So absolutely crazy that you have these idiots out there that oh, we're so damn smart because we've got the intelligence happening here. We're so much smarter than everybody else because they're just
Yay! Yay! I love my intro. I love it. Hello, my lovely. Hello, chat.
It is so good to see you this morning. Oh
It's
my
good to see
gosh.
you.
It
It's
is
good to see you.
it is so crazy. These fools believe, that Smith, this guy right here, Smith, an inventor. Okay.
Okay.
I don't I have a hard time trusting people like this. And there's a reason why I have a hard time trusting people like this. It is because they are part of these groups right here. And then whenever you look at their information, it's all left wing.
Government accountability.
Yeah, they call themselves government accountability, but some of it is not true. Especially,
Well, that's
and
government for you, isn't it?
well, and all you have to do is pull up some of their stuff. Like, for example, their immigration thing, where the first thing they say, since 2018, the wake of Trump administration zero tolerance immigration policy to deter to differ of deterrence which separated children from their families at the border. That right there was part of AOC coming in and going and crying in a parking lot. She was standing at a fence in a parking lot crying,
I
saying,
remember that.
"Oh, woe is me." It was a big photo op for her, but it was a parking lot she was standing in front of.
She was just sad at cars.
Oh, yes. Because it was all about the image. It's all about the image and make it look. It's I mean, this right here, whenever you start reading these things, and they're trying to make themselves sound like they're authorities in this, and I mean, if you read this whole thing, these employees of conscience have spoken up despite the risk of retaliation to issue warnings and expose systematic abuses, gross mismanagement, illegality, and to harm the immigrant children and adults, workers, and communities caused by illegal and dangerous immigration policies, practices, and conditions in the United States, exasperated by layers of oversight failures. Some of this stuff comes all the way from Obama, like within his first year of presidency. Whistleblowers have been vital, catalyzing oversight and accountability measures and bringing the end of some of the immigration system's worst abuses. Government Accountability Project, using the power of credible information provided from the uniquely valuable perspective of the employee whistleblowers to help fuel activism from immigration. Immigrant justice organizations and professional associates prompted congressional and agency investigations, supported lawsuits, driven policy changes, and even ended some of the worst abuses, including the sterilization of immigrant women. What? They're saying
Yeah.
that they're saying they're sterilizing illegals?
What?
No, this is what they just said. They said that they're sterilizing illegals coming into the United States.
Why are they sterilizing them? For what? What for?
I don't, and that's why I'm like, wait.
Oh,
Whenever I read that,
as in sterilization of female sterilization. Is that what we're talking about?
I guess that's what it sounds like they're doing.
Well, like that can't be true, surely.
This is why I whenever you, but they're citing these people as being credible.
Well, Anna, sorry. Tell him the Welsh lady said you're not credible.
Well, there you go. You can tell Smith right here yourself. This idiot.
Smith, you're not credible. I
Ugh.
don't believe you. Sorry if you can hear the noise in the background, but I got a garden here. I got two big gardens, big massive hedges, big bushes. No jokes, please. And I've got to have a gardener because I can't do it. I'm the chair, so
Yeah.
if you hear him go past, I do apologise. He's strimming. Jeffrey. Come on now, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Like a bit of sudden music.
It's not sudden. It's just perfect.
It was my theme song.
To wake you up. It's her fight song. It's her getting into the ring. Smith said he's applied the lessons of Flint by making sure his scientific advisors review all his data. Like, But if you've got bad science, that it doesn't matter. And this is the problem with people that are saying, "Oh, let's just go with the science." Well, and like I said, Fauci said the same thing about AIDS. He was like, "If you wear masks, your whole family needs to wear masks. If you wear the mask, you don't have to worry about getting the droplets. You don't have to worry about getting the gay AIDS." Not no, it's and these were your top scientists, saying this kind of crap, trying to say that
Yes.
you could stop the spread if you just wear a mask, and then he turns around
Yeah.
and does the same thing almost 30 years later. This says the same thing
With the
about
Seavid stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Oh, well.
so
Oh.
excuse me if I don't believe the credible scientists or any of that kind of crap, but I do think this is pretty funny. A Secret Service agent got robbed at gunpoint during Biden's Los Angeles trip.
Oh, no.
Yes.
He got
Uh,
robbed.
yeah. A U.S. Secret
He's
Service
not a very
agent
good
was.
secret sage. He's not a very good secret service person,
he-
is
he-
he?
no, he must not be. So he was robbed at gunpoint as President Joe Biden was visiting Los Angeles for a fundraising event over the weekend. Officials said the agent was returning from work Saturday night when he was accosted by in a residential community in Tustin, about an hour's drive southeast of Los Angeles, according to the Secret Service. Someone called the Tustin Police Department shortly after 9:30 to report the robbery. Police said the agent had his bag stolen at gunpoint. The agent, who was not injured, fired his gun during the confrontation. Police said the Secret Service said they did not know if anyone was shot. Well, he is even worse than. Good
What?
Lord. How
He
would you
didn't know
like to
it.
be that? This is going to go with this. And you notice they didn't name him, but this is going to, the
Oh,
whole
they
Secret
shouldn't.
Service is laughing at his ass right now. You,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean to say you
he's
got your
getting it.
bag stolen at gunpoint and you fired a shot and you're not sure if you hit the guy or
And
girl
you missed.
and you missed? And
Yeah.
you want to protect the president.
Yeah,
Holy
exactly.
freaking cow. I
Get the back of the queue. No, he's out.
I mean, I would say, like I'm saying, this is too damn funny. I mean, I would be just going like hog
His
hard at this guy if
his
I worked with
colleagues
him.
would. Yeah,
Oh
his
yeah.
colleagues are gonna they'd eat. They're gonna. It's just gonna be banter continuously.
Oh
They're
yeah.
gonna have him definitely. My
Yeah.
husband passed away now, but he was a police officer. So one of them made a mistake.
Oh yeah.
they never let him live it down.
Well, it's like I worked with this guy that went to mechanic school, and he was just like, yeah, I took mechanic blah blah blah, and I was just like, okay, cool. He goes, yeah, man, I've got like my degree, and I've got this loan that I'm paying off, and so I got this, the school they hook you up, and you get like this really cool toolbox and all these tools, really super awesome, and I don't have to pay as much as everybody else. Well, huh? Yeah. Yeah, sure. And then of course whenever he's doing a airbag recall, he manages to take a sheetrock screw and screw it into the AC condenser of the evaporator. Yeah,
It-
it's inside the car. Yeah,
yeah,
condenser coil.
the
So
condenser inside the car.
yeah,
I got you. Right.
okay.
It just took a little while. It
Yeah, it
started
took
to
a
sink
second because
in.
my brain wasn't
Yeah.
functioning. Yeah,
No,
so he
my
took the
it took a second
sheetrock
for me.
screw and screwed it in to because he was trying to attach the plastic back up that he broke. Instead of just getting a new piece, going, okay, we broke this, let me order another one and we'll get it in here. It wasn't even anything that would have been noticeable, been like, it is an effective piece of the car. But because he was using a sheetrock screw to screw a piece of plastic back in, like, what,
Yeah. What are you
what,
doing?
what?
I don't know much
Because,
about cars or anything, but
well,
what are you doing?
in an AC systems are a closed system, and
Yeah.
they have a lot of pressure in there. And so whenever you're working in your bay and you're working on a car, and all of a sudden you hear this and you turn and look, and the car is filled up with like looks like smoke. You're like, what? It's
What
like
the heck have you done?
it's like, uh-oh, and you can just hear it. You're just like this guy's he's gonna like die over here. This is not
Yeah.
gonna be good. He manages to come out of the car. He was like, "The fuck just happened?" He was like, screwed up. I was like, son, you did worse than screwed up.
And we're never ever gonna let you live our down again.
Oh
Even
no, we
years later,
didn't
we're
either.
gonna talk about it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we harassed the hell out of him. Well, and the fun part is somebody else they actually gave the car to somebody else to work on because they didn't trust him replacing that condenser coil, which it really sucked after replacing the condenser coil because you had to pull the whole dash apart just to get to it. It sucked so bad. I didn't work on it, but another guy did. But yeah, we gave that guy shit forever. People would set airbags in his bag.
You're still giving him shit.
Oh, they would just set the airbag in there. Set a little sheetrock screw next to it. Like next time you're going to screw into something, why don't you try one of these? Just, that'll really make a pop. Oh,
Yeah, you
yes.
know who you are. You know who he's talking about out there.
Bunston says you killed 2 refrigerators defrosting with an ice pick.
Oh, Funston's funny. I was listening to him last night on his like watching him in his chat. Talking about I defrosted my I defrosted my refrigerator with my hair dryer once. Yeah, I know.
It'll
I
work.
know.
It'll work, but yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get the drawer in. I was stuck in, I needed to get the box of fish fingers in, and I couldn't get it in. So I said, it's not usually a problem for me. But yeah, I got to get the air dryer out and just defrost a bit of the back of it, and it worked. And then I thought, should I really be doing this?
No.
After the fact.
Well, yeah. So Townsend police Monday said they had not found a suspect. Officers did find some of the agent's stolen belongings in the area. Police reported a silver Infiniti FX35 was seen leaving the scene. Oh, well, Biden and former President Barack Obama held a star-studded fundraiser event in Los Angeles on Saturday that brought in more than $30 million for Biden's reelection. Could you imagine? Doing a fundraising campaign that can raise $30 million so you can take more of your constituents' money instead of maybe raising $30 million to like help the poor in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Or give them
Get
housing.
them off Skid Row. Yeah.
30 million. I mean, if you think about that, and put this sort of into perspective.
30 million.
Yeah, a lot of people have a hard time like figuring out this, a million. Just like a million is a lot, but you've got 30 of those. So if you could take 30 people and you could make them millionaires. 30 people.
I can't imagine it though. I can't imagine in my head. It's just a phrase. 30 million. A million. I cannot imagine a million having or owning $1 million. Then I can't. It's just so alien to me.
Well,
to just have 30 million, that just seems so greedy. And
just so you can buy votes. I mean, that's all it really is buying votes.
Buying votes. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, they have to raise that kind of money because, whenever they're paying, anywhere between, $500,000 or $600,000 just to do an event like this fundraiser. So
is this like campaign funds or is that what it is?
Yeah, it's campaign funds. I mean,
we don't do all that over here, see.
Well, if you really look at how, oh, you really do. You don't think
Well,
you
I
do.
don't pay. I don't pay anyone. I can,
Well, you
come
don't
to the
pay
door. They
anyone, but
stick.
they still have fundraisers. They still are going around and
Oh,
gaining
yeah,
support.
yeah. I suppose they still stick flyers through my door,
Oh yeah. How
and
do you
then they
think they
just
pay
go
for
in
those
the bin.
flyers? How do you think they pay for those flyers? Yeah, same here. Doesn't it, I constantly get, these text messages and phone calls from Trump and Biden,
Yeah, you get
stuff.
those. What they
And
called not roll calls.
robocalls, yeah, they're robocalls.
Robocalls. That's right. We don't
Yeah,
get them.
yeah. Whenever I get those, I just delete them. Well, see, the EU also has different rules about those kinds of things. And this is like, there's certain things that they cannot do. Like, they have much stricter rules on
Yeah,
companies coming in and propagating, information.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
I think it was Chris Boozy got his ass in trouble for in the in the
yes,
in the in the UK because of certain rules that they have on what you can gather as far as information goes, and that can cause a problem.
yeah. I just get calls of, oh, hello there. I'll say Welsh lady, not my name. Hello there, Welsh lady. We understand you've been in a car accident recently. I go, yeah, and they go, yes, we've, I play along with it until I turn around and say, actually, been disabled for the last 10 years. I'm in a wheelchair with a brain problem. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, so excellent. I've been,
Don't
yes, recently been in an accident. You
no accident, just sudden, 10 years ago. No accident, love. That's the payoff. Good morning, Heidi, and hello, Zach,
Good morning, Zach. Good morning.
and
Guys,
Sean.
be right back. So it says tens of millions in the US remain under dangerous heat warnings. How are they any more dangerous? Oh, because we're
Ooh.
hitting record highs. Oh my gosh. It is
Oh,
climate
since
change.
records began.
And it all becomes climate change now. Phoenix, extreme heat alerts continue for tens of millions of people in the United States in as on Tuesday, as cities including Chicago broke records at the start of the week of sweltering weather. So what were the records? Because I can tell you, I was there during Lollapalooza. I think it was maybe the first year or second year. This is what I was setting up gear for that. Um, and it was 110, I believe it was 110 degrees about 3 of the 4 days the festival is going on. It hit over 110 a couple of times, and working in that heat sucked so bad. So you're telling me that
Yeah.
all of a sudden that you broke these records? Okay. Maybe for that day you broke the records, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been that hot before. I mean, it can get pretty
Well,
damn hot.
yeah, we only know since records began. What happened before the records
Well, and they're
began?
also comparing it to per day. So think about this. What was the temperature where you're at any particular on that particular day? Like what is today? The 18th
S-
of June. So on the 18th of June, oh, this was the
16
record.
degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that was the record high. Does that mean it's that the next day it didn't hit, the same temperature or a record low or anything like that? No, it just means on that particular day. So that's
No,
how
that's
they're
yeah, but
tracking the records. It's just like the
and
next
that's
day
how
could have
you
been just as hot. Oh,
and like you say, the next day is just as hot, and then the day after and the day after. So that turns into record highs with
yes,
an S on the. Oh, it's record highs. And with us, it's like any sunshine. It's like a heat wave. It's
exactly.
just
Sunburns.
yeah,
It's like,
burnt barbecue, burnt Brit. Yeah,
yep. Well, we're going to go outside and bake us some bread.
yeah.
States in the Midwest started to bake Monday what the National Service called a dangerous and long duration heat wave that was expected to stretch from Ohio to Maine into at least Friday. Well, what about the record like rainfall that they just had? On Monday,
Yeah.
Chicago broke a 1957 temperature record. On Monday, just on Monday, they broke a record temperature of a high of 97 degrees. Ooh. Hot and muggy conditions will continue this week with peak heat indexes. Now you notice that they call it peak heat indexes, and
Yeah.
they're measuring it in cities that are full of concrete. Now,
Yeah.
okay, so how about this? We just destroy all the cities, just wipe them out, and get rid of all the concrete. We can build it out of something that's more earth friendly. How's that? We'll destroy it all, build something out of more earth friendly, like maybe the bodies of all the children that you've like thrown in incinerators or whatever.
Oh
How
my
about we do
gosh.
that? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, you didn't expect that turn, did you?
No, I didn't.
The
It's
heat didn't
really
stop
babies.
people in Chicago's Grant Park from ordering the hottest dishes off the menu in a food truck where Emmanuel's Ramos is a cook. Yeah, I don't care. They'll be ordering the hottest stuff on the hottest day, and see now you're thinking about those kids being cooked.
Oh, I don't
They
want to
order
think
they
about
order
it.
they order ramen corn. They just want everything hot. I don't know why. Right now, something that would be good is the smoothies. Yeah, but you got to keep the smoothies cool.
They
Okay.
melt too quick.
Last year, some of those heat waves consisting of abnormally hot weather lasting more than 2 days. That's it? They call that a heat wave?
A
Oh
heat
my,
wave. Talk about heat wave. Sorry.
yeah, it's
70s.
these people are stupid. It is not that drastic. Much of the Midwest and Northeast were under heat warnings or watches, with officials announcing the opening of cooling centers and urging people to limit outdoor activities. Well, if you have cooling centers and you're limiting outdoor activity, that just sort of defeats the purpose. Like, well, don't go outside to one of our cooling centers because, well, that you got
What,
to
what,
limit, but you got to be
what's a
outside.
cooling centre?
You see where these little kids are playing? They just have water that sprays out of the ground. That's basically what they
It's
consider a
just
cooling center.
fountains.
It's a water park fountain during hot weather in Chicago. Yeah, that's what they call them. Check in with family members and neighbors who may be vulnerable to the heat. Well, and this is as they raise the cost of electricity and natural gas, that coal, things that produce electricity. They've raised the price on those
Oh,
because
yes.
they've eliminated the amount that is available by shutting down oil plants, coal plants, nuclear plants will be next. Who
Yeah. Well,
knows?
we were a mining village, you know. Wales is famous for its mining, and yeah, I don't live far from the pit, but it's closed now. It closed years ago. Well, closed when I was in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the nonprofit Center for Biological Diversity, Jesus Christ, another. See when
Biological diversity.
yes, when will they stop?
What is
AP.
that?
I'm not even going to pull it up because I can tell you what the first thing that it says in there whenever they call it about biological diversity. This is about people chopping parts of their anatomy off or adding parts of their anatomy that shouldn't be there. We
Oh
we used,
gosh.
we used to have a
Ah.
name for that back in the day. It was called fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, each to their own. If you want to put parts on you, like fakey things, like if you want to, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not Sunday yet, so I gotta be careful. If you want to use fakey parts, then
Yeah.
so just saying now. Somebody's
Apparently,
yeah, 4
summer-type
days of
weather is
sun and
supposed to be
massive
appearing later
storms.
this week, but not for long. Usually, rules apply: 4 days of sun, massive storms.
Yes, it's British weather. That's us. Yes.
Yes. The agency did not immediately issue specific response to the petition. Of course, why would they? So now this group put out a petition to the EPA, the FEMA, asking us to recognize extreme heat and wildfire smoke as major disasters. No, no, those are not major disasters. Jesus. Much of the U.S. swelters.
It's
Late
major
season snow was
disasters.
forecast for northern Rockies. Wait, huh? What? Late season snow? Much of the U.S. swelters are supposed to be snow in the northern Rockies. and they're under a winter storm warning in parts of Montana and north central Idaho, where as much as 20 inches was predicted for higher elevations around Glacier National Park. That's the amazing thing about the ice caps melting. They do replenish themselves in the colder regions, even in summer.
We would have, do you know what, Susie, right? My mum came here the other day. She said, we forecast, it was about 2 weeks ago. She said, we forecast snow next week. I said, what? It's June. I said, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Forecast snow. She said, yeah, they forecast snow. So I'm getting the bread and milk in now. Because that's what we do as well. We stock up.
It's
We
a
had the
major
bread and milk
disaster
in. I said,
if
what?
you work in an office without AC. I used to work
Wow,
in shops without AC.
we don't have that
And
here.
imagine going inside of a warehouse that has no heat. I mean, has no heat, has no cooling, except for like a little fan blower that you can sit on top of your box, and working on the inside of a car that just pulled in because it was overheating. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the I got third-degree burns on my right hand after some lady's um what do you call it? Radiator cap exploded on her. So she pulls in, says her car is overheating. I pop open the hood. As soon as I pop open the hood, the radiator cap exploded off of it. And me,
Wow.
out of just instinct, because the lady was standing right there, just out of instinct, reached over and deflected it with my hand and then pushed her out of the way with the other hand.
Oh, you hero.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think she got hit with some water, but it wasn't anything hot. Um, and immediately, because I pushed her out of the way, put my hand over it, and immediately, I pulled my hand back because it was really fucking hot.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you burn?
I had that thing soaking under cold water for it must have been
Ouch.
like 5 hours. I just sit there just almost in tears. My hand blistered up on the whole front side of it is just a big balloon, and on the back side of it had a little bit of burns to it. And I just sit there and just ran it underwater. Just this, I've never felt so much pain. Never
Oh
had
my
AC in a bakery.
gosh.
Exactly.
Oh, oh, hello, broken
What's up,
baker.
brother? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. I'll be seeing you later. Well, not
Oh,
personally. I'm not,
yeah.
I'm not coming to your house or anything. That's a bit creepy. I'll
That'd be
be
a
in your
hell of a
chat.
trip too. That'd be a hell of a trip. Yeah, glad the hand did not burn stuck. You would have been one-handed shizzy now. Yeah, it was bad. It
Yeah,
was bad.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to ever
My
do that
goodness
again.
me.
I
I bet the
mean,
woman was grateful, though. I bet she was grateful for your kindness,
well, she,
and
well,
your
she felt
quick
she felt
thinking.
really bad. She was just like, I feel really bad because I wasn't expecting. I said I wasn't expecting it either. Don't worry, it'll be fine. It's just another day in the office. I mean, I've burned my hands on and arms on like tailpipes and crap like that. Never burned my lips on tailpipes, but my arms I have, done
Let's
that.
not talk about you and your lips now, mind, branches and stuff. We quite like you with a goatee beard.
Well, speaking of burning your lips, some Mexican shelters are seeing crowding south of the border as Biden's asylum ban takes hold. Now, you heard about this asylum ban. Do you notice they call it an asylum ban whenever Biden does it, but they call it a what did they call it? A Muslim ban on whenever Trump did it.
Yeah, 'cause I remember that, the Muslim ban, and then people were, like, at the airports protesting and stuff, weren't they? And then yeah, I remember that.
But you
That
you
was at his
remember.
beginning of his presidency, wasn't it?
Well, it was like 2018 whenever he basically said, "Yeah, we're keeping these rules in place that don't allow terroristic countries to come into our country. We're not allowing We're not allowing terrorists into our country from these country, this 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 country, named off all these countries that we are not. We are just continuing the same rules that were put in place back probably whenever Bush came in, and then were doubled down by Barack Obama and Clinton. So just, yeah, we're keeping the same rules in place. And then they decided to call it the Muslim ban. He said, these people are not, they're not coming to our country with the best interests at heart. And of course, that set off
I remember that speech.
All of the people in Michigan to get all upset because they called it a Muslim ban. Well, it was just the politicians that got upset, and they got their constituents worked up because they knew that they were hitting midterms. So 2018 would have been midterm elections, and that's whenever they started bringing this up. But let's find out a little bit more about this asylum ban. In Mexico, some shelters south of the U.S. border are caring for more illegals now that the Biden administration stopped considering the request. Oh, imagine that. Because we don't have to. That's the thing. The U.S., the way that international law works
You have
on
a
this.
court, don't you? You have a
Well,
court. So if you claim asylum at a port of entry, not by crossing a border illegally, tell me if I'm wrong. And
you're
because I
absolutely
like to
right.
be educated. If I'm wrong, if you cross illegally at a border, say in Texas, is it Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Texas, Arizona.
Yeah, and if you're crossing the border legally, right, that's the difference between going to a port of entry and claiming asylum. And then
Yes.
from there, you have asylum lawyers that also work with you to determine whether or not you are legitimately claiming asylum for fear of what's happening in your country or death, all of that
That's
kind
not
of
what they've been
thing.
doing. See,
Or
you're thinking logically.
well, well, I do try. It doesn't always work, I understand. I am Welsh after all.
I
But
mean, we can only ask for so
just
much.
yeah, you gotta forgive me. I do try.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
but if they obviously then they got to weed out the people who are scamming, and and then send them back, and then the people who go through the asylum, they then, from what I know, they're allowed into the community, but under certain conditions. But then they probably don't always go back to where they're supposed to.
okay, so here's the flaw in your logic, and I'll point this
tell
out.
me my flaws.
Okay, the flaw
Be
in your
nice.
logic is, and no, I'll be very nice. Whenever you're seeking asylum, it's the first country that you come to after leaving your country. Okay,
Yes.
so for you, it would be Scotland, of course, the first country that you come to.
I wonder why they could seek asylum in Scotland. It's bloody freezing there.
I know.
I love you, Scots.
That's why you don't see them seeking asylum in Canada. The first border that you come to is where you're supposed to seek asylum. What the problem is they come across the border from their country, they cross into another country, then they cross into another country, and then they get bussed all the way across
It's
Mexico.
happening with the French.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they get shipped
we have the
all the
same
way
thing with the
across by
French.
bus. By bus. They're getting shipped all the way across Mexico. Look at Mexico, and just imagine the little area that the country that they're coming from is about the size of all of the United Kingdom that they're crossing, or leaving that country, going to another country that's about the same size as that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're crossing across an area that's larger than the United States in whole. Now,
yeah,
it's amazing that they show up looking pretty damn healthy. And then number two, they don't cross at a port of entry. They cross at a place that's open.
Yeah.
They're shipped there by Mexican nationals. Once they get shipped here, they destroy their passports or leave their passports on the other side. So that way you have no proof of saying that what country
Oh,
that they're from. They could just
yeah.
claim that they're coming from whatever country they tell them to come from. Oh, well, it's a war-ravaged country. Then they can apply for asylum. But if they show up with their passport that got them there in the first place, they realize, oh no, we can't be letting you in for asylum. So that's the trick. I mean, they've done reports on this.
Yeah.
It's like, why are all these passports laying here? Why are they leaving all this stuff behind? I mean, this is like your identification. Well, because they
Yeah, and
don't
they get the
need it anymore.
coyotes as well, don't they? They have the coyotes
Yeah.
helping them as well. It's like over here, it's the closest thing I can relate it to is that the French port and coming from France over by boat over
Hmm.
into our waters. Um, and they're from Afghanistan or countries of from the Middle East, and so they've ended up in France, and instead of France then holding them, they're then sending them here,
Yeah.
and now I mean, I don't quote me because 1 minute is on and the next minute is off, but they were sending them to Uganda, I believe it was.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Oh, speaking of, I got to grab some more coffee. We're going to do a little. We're going to do a little bit of a music break here.
oh, music break. I love a music
Yeah, I
break.
love the music break. We're gonna
Just
kick that up here in just a second. Let me go to that, and that way we can do the music break. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. I'll be right back.
go for it, lovely.
Sun. It's a brand new day. Gotta shake the sleep. Gotta find my way to the kitchen where the coffee's hot. Take a little break. Give it all I got. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Wanna get my cup and start anew. Rise and brew, yeah, rise and brew. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Stepping out of bed, feel the reggae and every funky beat. Whiz is ready to take on any feat. Whiz, get ready to take on any feat. Rise and groove, get rise and groove. Gonna get my cup and start anew. Rise and groove, get rise and groove. Take a little break is what I gotta do. Whiz and coffee, sweet harmony.
My balls are tingling. Yeah, my balls are tingling.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it is. It's so
It
much
is
fun.
such a swingy, like you're bobbing away,
Yeah,
and your thumbs going, and your head's going. I like
well, I
that
mean,
song.
are you talking about sex or what?
Swallow, swallow.
Sorry. Oh,
I was going to say that's going to go over your screen. That is.
it almost did. The impact appears even more than a week after the temporary suspension took effect. Shelters south of Texas and California have plenty of space, while as many as 500 deportations from Arizona each day are straining shelters in Mexico's Sonora state. You mean deporting them back to whence they came is overloading them? Well, stop shipping them across your country and bringing them to the United States. How's that?
Yes.
Because of course they say we've had a remarkable increase. Mexico also agreed to accept deportees from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, none of which border on the United States. We already have a deal worked out with Cuba. At least there was at one point in time. They may have refrained from allowing that. Basically, if you touched soil in the United States coming from Cuba, they would have to offer you asylum. That's how it used to be. I don't know if it's like that anymore, or they even enforce that or allow that. Usually, they'll just drag them back out in the water and put them back on a boat and say, "Nope, we're not allowing you to come to the United States." The shelter in Agua Prieta, remote town, don't care. Mexicans make up a large percentage of border arrests in much of Arizona. Now we already have things in set for migratory workers. You can apply for become a migratory worker at a border, and then they limit how many people can actually come in and do work. And I used to see it whenever I was in El Paso. In the mornings, you would have a whole swath of Mexicans coming across that were coming to go to work. And sometimes they would just be working in like hotels and other things of that sort. And then at the end of the day, you'd see them just cross back over and head home. I mean, just like going, taking the commuter train or something like that into work. It was just, that's how they would travel back and forth just across the
Yeah.
border.
Yeah.
They'd show whatever stuff. They'd go through their bags, make sure they weren't carrying some sort of illegal contraband, and then they would just go in and they would go to work and come home at the end of the day, collect a paycheck, and go about life as usual. And so whenever people say, "Oh, you're no," that was part of the economy in El Paso was, you could.
El Paso. I was thinking of El Paso earlier on. I couldn't think of the name.
And most of these people were making minimum wage, which would still be better than what they were making
What
in
they
their
were
own country.
getting. Yeah,
So,
what they were getting.
so you would get the cheap labor for work that other people didn't want to do. I don't know too many people that thrive off of scrubbing toilets. I mean, it's not going to be one of the greatest jobs in the world, but they're also not asking for $15 an hour. They're just like, yeah, just pay me better than whatever I'd be making in Mexico, because I'm not making shit over here. And
Yeah.
I mean, and also the community that they were part of, it was just like you didn't look down on them for being an immigrant. Where now it's just like, oh well, you're an immigrant, so why don't you come clean my toilets? It's just like, dude, that's a shitty way to treat
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
I
it's
don't
like
like stuff like that. Shitty
yeah,
like that.
that was the attitude that a lot of your upper crust was giving you. Where are most of those upper crusts? Oh, they happen to be Democrats. Isn't that
I'd
beautiful?
rather be associating with the people who'd clean the toilets and do the get down and dirty work
Exactly.
than those who are just toffing it about, stiff upper lip and got all the money. I'm not interested. Give me somebody who's down to earth,
Yep.
somebody who's yeah, this is status thing versus, what they would class as say menial jobs. Then no, give me
Yeah.
those people. They're usually the salt of the earth people.
Exactly. And they'll just as soon welcome you into their home and feed you and treat you with respect than someone from the upper crust, which is like, well, that
Yeah, look down your nose at you.
I worked landscaping whenever I first moved here to Georgia, among the multiple different jobs that I did whenever I worked here. And one of the guys came over to the United States during the Bush years. Um, yeah, it was George Bush. And that basically, given like did the same thing that Biden wants to do is basically sign off and just say, if you're here, you're here. We're allowing you in. And yeah, you couldn't get him to vote for a Democrat to save your life. He was just like, no, George Bush did this for me. He made it possible for me to have my ranch in Mexico. In Mexico, he's a rich man. He had a ranch of I want to say it was probably about 60 or 7 acres where his wife, his kids, and his mistress all lived.
Wife, kids, and mistress.
And mistress lived
There's
on
something
lived
wrong with that sentence.
well, let's put it this way. His wife, his mistress, and both of their kids lived there on the ranch and worked the ranch. While he would, lived in the US, and he would just send all of his money back to them. Yeah, I mean,
Okay. All
that
righty
was that
then.
was that was his life. I mean, and every morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, he'd be up busting his ass. He would get done at night, then he would go and clean banks at night for the same company, and he would take every single bit of his money. This is back in the early 90s, so, pay wasn't great. I think minimum wage might have been hitting $5 an hour, but he wasn't working for minimum wage just because he did such a good job at what he did. But he would just bust ass all day long, and then he would go home, get about 2 hours of sleep. He'd get up at around 10 o'clock at night, and he would go and clean banks until about 1 o'clock in the morning, go home, take another 2 hour sleep, and get up at 4 just to be at work. Yeah, and I guarantee you, at any point in time, if you're just like, man, I'm hungry, he'd buy you something to eat. He
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah. He was a
like,
hard worker.
yeah, he was there to work, to make money. And because, he goes, I'm only going to be able to do this for so long. I'm going to hit an age where, my body isn't going to want to do
Mhm.
anything. I'm just going to stay home in Mexico and not come back. It's like, I don't care
Fair
about your
enough.
social security benefits. He could speak English. He could understand more English than he could speak. He would get his son to translate for him, but
That's
he could completely
helpful.
understand you, which was so much fun because what was it? We were sitting there one day, and then the boss man was saying something to him, and he's acting like he's not listening, and
Right.
his son is translating it for him, and the boss man sort of got a little pissed off about something and got up and left, and dude sort of got a smile on his face, and I looked at his son and I said, he understands a hell of a lot of English, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And dude just sort of smiled. I was like, he knows exactly what he said. He goes, you don't play that shit with me. And they both just started smiling. I'm just like, souls. I just, and I never
Yeah.
gave it up on him. I would never tell. It was just like, this too funny. Oh,
Yeah, he was playing them. My grandparents do that to me. They're both profoundly deaf. And
Oh yeah.
and my sign language is basic. I got BSL, but it is because I don't see them very often and I'm not using it all the time. It's very difficult. So when I then start to meet with them, and then I start up with my sign language, you can see the nods and the smiles. And I know that I'm signing something completely wrong. And they'll just smile and then they'll respond then with something funny, like, and I'm like, you knew all along, you just sat there and let me sign away. You're
Yeah.
laughing to yourself, like, yeah, she thinks she's signing something, but that's not what she's signing.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Excellent. How funny is that? They are both 90 years of age now, mind. But yeah, so funny.
Yeah.
So
Clean
funny.
toilets at your gym once a week. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, Squid.
Yeah,
I
that
love
I mean,
Squid.
it's amazing. I actually clean toilets at my own home. Oh.
Yeah, it's when you got to clean your other half after clean the toilet after your other half have been to the toilet. Even
I
that, do you
wash
know what I mean?
I wash dishes too. God,
Do
I
you
wash
really?
dishes
You don't have
I
a
cook.
dishwasher?
I cook and I do. I have a dishwasher, but I still wash dishes. You can't really fit, these large platters in there, that you use whenever you're making ribs and stuff. There's so many things that reminds me. I have a steam cleaner that's showing up today, like an actual steam cleaner, so I can clean my grill with it because I hate pulling that damn thing in. It's one of those power steamers that'll just yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome.
Sure, I have a steam, you sometimes, I don't know if you go to over there, but over here, sometimes you go into a posh shop and, I say posh shop because I shop in bargain shops, but,
Yes.
you you go into a posh shop and there'll be a man's shirt on a mannequin, and then the guy behind the counter or whatever, you will have a steamer, and he'll be steaming the shirt, so all the
Mhm.
creases are falling out. I thought, well, stuff that, I want one of them because I find ironing very difficult, especially with my condition. So I
Yeah.
find it very difficult. So just to hang up an outfit on the
Well,
door
no.
frame and then stick the steam,
Yeah.
but blooming heck, watch your arms. I tell you, the steam's so hot.
Yes. Well, I was gonna say, just make sure that you're not like the mannequin and don't put it on and then try to steam it off. Bad
Yeah, I
idea.
did do it once. I'm not gonna lie. I only had one small crease. I had done the whole blooming thing, and it was perfect, except this one small crease. And
And
I
you're like,
thought, I am
"Oh,
not
just
taking this off. I'm not taking this off now, and taking it back up. So I thought, right, I'll just pull it away from my flesh, and I'll steam it that way.
Gotta admit, it's best thing for cleaning I've bought." Yeah, and
And
well,
yeah,
and
it got a little bit warm. It did, yeah.
yeah, it will. It's I mean, this thing is supposed to get pretty damn hot, but yeah, it'll you can clean grout with them. You can do, all kinds of, like really deep cleaning kind of things. And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna use it for my grill." You can use it to clean your windows. You can do it
Yeah,
to,
they're fab.
do all kinds of stuff. I'm like, "Man, screw the damn squeegee." I can because we get bird imprints on our sun porch where birds fly into the glass. It's just
Oh, they don't.
they
Oh,
don't
my
see it.
mum,
They're all
my
pulp. It's
we
just like,
my
oh,
mum has a yeah, they just come flying and bang, don't they? And my mum got a conservatory, which is all, like all glass around, and she got so many birds in her garden. It's a beautiful garden, and they constantly bang at the window. So we got these stickers now that kind of go on our window that
okay.
reflect, and the birds can actually tell. So there are
Ah,
things out there that you can. I mean, you think, "Oh, I don't wanna put stickers on my windows." This and, it's a bit
morning, Kaiser.
look looks a
Well
bit thing.
well,
Hello,
no, and
Kaiser,
it's
darling.
no, there
He's a
are
good one.
these birds are idiots anyway. Because I swear, I joke not about this. There's a I have a camera set up in that room because whenever we're out of town, I want to make sure that we don't have any break-ins, and if there are, I can call 911. Anyhow, so we were on vacation, and I kept getting these notifications like that there was movement. There shouldn't be any movement. And what it was picking up the sound of birds colliding into it. It would be like 4 or 5 times a day. It would be like the same damn bird would run into
The
it.
same bird, yeah. So like, didn't you learn the first time?
There was one where it hit on the deck side, and I saw the bird like collide into it, and it just sort of flopped there on the ground and stunned it, and then it just like stood up and looked around, and then flew right back into it again.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm a nature lover, Macy. So I'm like, oh.
Except for those damn squirrels. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I think a squirrel run across the top of my roof of my house every now and again. They just wild. They just not overrun.
No.
Like it's very rare you see
No.
one, and when you do, it's like, ooh, it's a
Not
squirrel.
for us. My
No,
wife,
I know.
we opened up the back door one day, and what she counted, just what she was able to count, there were over 6 squirrels, and they were just eating all of her blueberries.
Eating. And they ate
So-
all of her roses, didn't they? Those beautiful roses.
well, they'll
Did they
chew on
destroy
the
her
road.
roses?
No, they didn't destroy. They didn't just destroy enough of them because those things are pretty prolific. Theirs are growing really well. But yeah, it was bad. It was so bad that she was just like, okay, we've got to do something. I was like, okay. Yeah, the
Pew, pew.
first maybe.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. The first week, I think it was somewhere around 30 in one week.
Wow. No, we don't get them like that. It's very rare.
Yeah. Well, it's
very rare.
because the owls and the hawks that we have, there's only they're red tip hawks. I can't remember brain. So we do have 2 predatory birds there, but they can't even keep up with the amount. And because it was last year was a really big year for dropping of acorns, that really, there's just excess amount of food for them. And so they bred like crazy. So they said to watch out for it. I should have started in the spring, but it got into the summer, and now that it's a little bit warmer, it's a little more chill. They've sort of calmed down a bit.
Yeah, we got returning owls to our house.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna. And my daughter was only little, right? And I said, because we can hear we got 2, and they return every year. I'm convinced, right? It's the same 2 owls. So we named them. So I said, what do you want to name the owls? She was like, Owl Barmer. Okay. And so what about the other one? Miss Owl.
Miss Owl.
It's like Owl Barmer and Miss Owl. So yeah, we got two.
That's awesome.
It's just the names that we come up with for we got something that comes into the attic every now and again and does some scratch, and we have a clue what it is, but I always say, oh, scratch his back. We have quite a lot of wildlife around us. Mind you, I live near a forest, so I've had a fox in my garden. They caught it on CCTV.
What is the squirrel punch count? I think it's somewhere around 40 now, something like that. Something. I mean, and it's only been 3 weeks, something like that. Like they decrease for some reason. They found that the food is not quite as tasty. Unlike these migrants, or they call them migrants, I call them illegals. food is going to be scarce for illegals, and we hope that the organizations can support us in that situation, because feeding 500 people is a real feat. Imagine feeding 500 people 3 times a day and getting the
Yeah.
food to these places. Like, the amount of money that is being spent is just unbelievable. And you got Piedras Negras, which is across the border from Eagle Pass, Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott is in a battle with the Biden administration. He is not a battle with them. He just basically said, no, I'm in control of the National Guard in my state, and the National Guard is going to stop these people from coming across. And it's just like, and of course, then Biden came in and said, well, I'm just going to send my Border Patrol agents to cut the wire to let them in. He was like, fine, you can, I can't stop you because it's been court ruled that I can't stop you. But guess what? You can't stop me from putting up more border wire. And I will just keep, as much as you keep destroying it, the border over here, we're going to keep building it back up. That was the biggest clash. Of course, now they're saying migration peaks flowed there in December as many as 1,000 a day. Not just, 1,000 came across. No,
1,000 a
1,000
day.
a day. And that's just one location. At some point, they were getting somewhere around 14,000. I think they were saying 14,500 per day, just coming across at various points on the border. So imagine that happening day after day for the past, going on 4 years now?
It
So
was
for the
before
past
that,
4
so
years.
as well, wasn't it? It was going on through Obama's administration as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, and you can only stop the flow so much. What you have to do is make it more difficult for people to, one, get here, two, be here and stay here, and three, that they're prosecuted and never allowed back in. And if they're caught, they're just there's not even an asylum period, like where they can seek asylum. As soon as they come across, they just basically put them in a bus and ship them right back across, and just keep doing it over and over and over and over again, because it's cheaper to do it that than even feed them, because you're looking at millions of people a year coming across that you've got to clothe, feed. And this was the problem whenever they started having all of these so-called sanctuary cities. Oh no, you're welcome here. We welcome the immigrants to come here. And then whenever they said, okay, you're welcoming, we'll ship them to you. We'll actually bus them to you. And whenever those buses start showing up, and it's just nonstop train of buses. And think about this, you can put 80 people on a bus, 100 people on a bus, 60 people,
Yeah.
20 people, whatever. And you see 5 or 6 buses rolling into your city, and then they unload them and say, see you, bye. Here's some walking cash, some food, and see ya. You see how fast those cities are like, oh, we got to do something about this immigration. Really?
Yeah.
Weren't you just talking about it? That wasn't such a bad thing, because 500,000 of course they say 500,000 immigrants. No, there's a difference between an immigrant and an illegal. 500,000 immigrants, illegals, could eventually get U.S. citizenship under a new plan from Biden. So what they just said in the previous news story means absolutely nothing, because he's taking an expansive election year step to offer relief to potentially hundreds of thousands, millions of illegals without, and here's where they put it, immigrants without legal status. That means illegal aliens in the U.S., aiming to balance his own aggressive crackdown on the border earlier this month that enraged advocates and many Democrat lawmakers. The White House announced Tuesday that the Biden administration will, in the coming months, allow certain spouses of U.S. citizens. Those aren't U.S. citizens. You can't be a U.S. citizen without legal status. Okay? You cannot be.
No, exactly.
You cannot be a U.S. citizen. Now, you can be here illegally, but you're still here illegally. To apply for permanent residency and eventually citizenship. Wait, didn't you see? This is why changing words and changing what is being said is always a bad thing. it's like saying, well, we're going to call the sky pink now because, well, blue is so out of fashion. So we're just going to call the sky pink. And so next time someone calls the sky blue, you need to correct them and tell them, no, it's pink. I was like, no, it's blue. Well, then you're just bigot. You're just racist. You just don't like it. No, the sky is blue.
Facts.
You're an illegal immigrant. Then you're an illegal or an illegal alien or whatever the hell you want to call it. You're not from this country. You don't belong here. Take your ass back home. You don't like it where you're at? Well, then fix it where you're at and don't come here and bring your bad policies here. That's the same way with, people coming from California into, the South, and man, South, it's so hot. We don't like people, and they got such a bad attitude. Well, yeah. It's like we all sit around, we have sex with our cousins, and we play banjos all damn day long. We don't work. We don't work. Our best pets are alligators.
We love moonshine.
Yeah. I mean, we start drinking moonshine at 5 years old. We smoke cigars and
Some cousins. We're all inbred.
Yeah, exactly. Every single one of us. Like take your ass back to California. I mean, you made the policies there, so live with the consequence of your actions. Don't bring your bullshit to my state and tell me that I've got to stop having sex with cousin Betty because
Oh, Blackberry family. Oh, Blackberry.
we all live in trailers. Exactly, TC.
Oh yes, everyone lives in a trailer.
You can't forget the trailers. I mean, to qualify, an illegal must have lived in the United States for 10 years as of Monday and be married to a U.S. citizen. How many people this is going to, isn't it? Yeah, you know how many people this is going to affect? About 1/100%. So as there, because how many have been living here for 10 years and have been married to a U.S. citizen for 10 years? Think about that. That means they would have had to come here before Obama left office.
Yes.
So that means that Obama's policies brought them here. They would have had to been here for 10 years. They would have had to be married for those full 10 years, living together and escaped from being deported. So it's not very many. If qualifying illegal's application is approved, he or she would have 3 years to apply for the green card and receive a temporary work permit, be shielded from deportation in the meantime. Now, one of my wife's friends, which is an immigration attorney, she deals a lot with Chinese nationals and that sort. She does handle other stuff, but she married a guy from Leeds. Now,
the UK.
Yeah, he's from Leeds. Okay, so he was working for, I believe it was Deutsche Bank or Dutch Bank, whatever the hell they want to call it.
Deutsche Bank.
Yeah, Deutsche Bank. He was part of their IT department or whatever, and he was brought into the United States, working out of the United States. Now he applied for to become a U.S. citizen. This was before they got married, and she said, "Well, you can just get married, and we can work through it and make it a lot easier." And he goes, "No, I want to do this the right way." And they're both lefties. I mean, no surprise. But he was just like, "No, I mean, because then I would just be using you. What if the shit doesn't work out? Then then I have to start all over again." He was like, I'm just let me finish this out before we get married, so that way, I'm doing it the right way. And that's what he did. It took him like want to say 5 years, 6 years, something
It
crap
is a
like
long
that.
process. It is.
It is.
I mean, my grandfather, he's passed away now. He's in America. But he was a naturalized citizen. He had to go through all of that
Oh,
stuff when he went
yes.
over there after the Blitz. Is it because
I just made her lose her coffee.
look at the ugly truckling?
Yes. So to qualify as to qualify, an illegal must have lived in the United States for 10 years as of Monday and be married to a U.S. citizen. If a qualifying illegal's application is approved, he or she would have 3 years to apply for a green card, receive a temporary work permit, and be shielded from deportation. In the meantime, about 50,000 non-citizen children with a parent who is married to a U.S. citizen could also potentially qualify for the same process, according to senior administration. So about 50,000 illegal children with a parent. Okay. There's no requirement on how long a couple must have been married, and no one becomes eligible after Monday. That is not what they just said. Must have lived in the United States for 10 years and be married to a U.S. citizen. Oh, so they have to have been living here for 10 years and not be married for 10 years, but be here for 10 years and married to a U.S. citizen. So that's a rarity.
They have to be living for 10 years
Yeah,
and
they could be
also
married.
married for 10
They,
years.
no, just married. So
Married
the way
for
that
20 years. But,
no,
yeah.
you could be married for like 2 hours. It doesn't matter. There's no requirement of how long the
Oh,
couple must have been married, and no one becomes eligible after Monday. So anybody that screwed up and it came in today, you're screwed. Like if it was 10 years and you didn't apply for it Monday, you're screwed. That means illegals who reach their 10-year mark anytime after June 17th, 2024, which was yesterday, will not qualify for the program. So you're screwed.
yeah. Well,
Senior
it's a bit
like I
late
said,
putting this article out, isn't it?
well, no. Here's the trick to all of this is to appease the lefties that are all pissed off because he said, okay, we're going to have to shut down our border because this is getting out of hand. I look like a complete dumbass for letting all these people in and promoting them to come across the border. And I don't want to say that there's some bad people amongst them, that they didn't find 7 nationals from a terrorist country that might have made it across the border and we caught them. That's only 7 out of millions that have crossed the border since Biden came into office. How many are here already that look to harm our country? And how long before they actually do something bad in this country and puts us in another state of panic, another lockdown, another shutting down airports, another shutting down whatever venue because somebody committed some sort of atrocious attack on the United States.
Yeah. No,
And
we
and
don't want any of that happening.
how close is that going to happen to an election? I'm not calling for it to happen. I'm just saying how
No, I know
long
you're not.
before this happens. Is it going to happen before the election or after the election, after
Well,
Trump wins?
I think it's well, yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
I'm just
I
kidding.
know what you're saying.
It's
Well, no, but I do understand what you're saying. But we got security threats here all time, and well, not very many in Wales, mind, but London usually. But
yeah. Well,
guys,
there's some bad hombres in there. Oops. Now, you also have to remember that back in the what was it, the 80s? Yeah, it would be back in the 80s whenever Biden had certain things to say about some of the darker skinned folks. Yeah, they weren't pleasant, nor did they make him look very good because he didn't want certain groups in his neighborhood. He considered
Oh,
them
didn't now I missed that.
something about jungles, was something like that.
Oh my goodness me, man. Seriously? Oh,
I'm
flipping heck.
serious. Yeah, you have to remember that these are the same people that, decades later are hanging out with members of certain organization that wore white hoods, and they weren't ghosts.
I
And
don't
no,
reckon that organization's gone.
they weren't part of the Catholic Church. Well, some of them might have been, but they, all I'm saying is the way that they were dressed, and
Hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
they did carry a cross. I will say that.
Was it on fire?
It might. Well, it wasn't whenever they carried it. That would hurt. You'd get burnt. Jeez,
Yeah.
come on.
Have to be careful, I suppose, with their organisation that I believe still exists. That
Yeah.
Hey,
No,
look
that
what it is!
Biden is.
T-Rex. Hello,
Yes.
T-Rex. Sorry,
Yeah.
Shizzy. I'm
No, that's
just
fine.
seeing people
T-Rex.
who are entering.
I saw
Hello,
T-Rex.
T-Rex. He's such
We
a
recognize him.
sweetheart.
He is. The
He
power that
is.
Biden is invoking with his Tuesday announcement for spouses is not a novel one. The policy would expand the authority used by George W. Bush and Barack Obama to allow parole in place for family members of military members, blah, 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 blah. The parole in place process allows qualifying illegals to get on the path to U.S. permanent residency without leaving the country, removing a common barrier for those without legal status but married to Americans. It fulfills President Biden's one-day promise to protect illegals and their American families. Okay. And that's like I said, it's no different than what Bush did. It is a sweeping thing. And it's not a bad policy. It's not a bad policy. The only problem is it only appeases people. It doesn't mean that it's any good. It's actually more restrictive than George Bush's was, because they're saying you had to be married to somebody as of last Monday.
Well, yesterday.
Yesterday, as of yesterday. But they're announcing it today. Like I said, this is
Which doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yes, it does. Because the amount of people, okay, the amount of people that it affects is minimal. It helps very few people, okay, if not any.
So what you're saying is, but to everyone else, it looks like, oh, look, this big policy, is helping so many.
It
when
helps
really,
it helps the lefties think, oh, look, he's totally going against Trump. He's doing exactly what we want him to do. He's helping out all of the immigrants. He's helping the immigrants. It's for show. It's not helping anybody out. That's the beauty of it. But it appeases both sides, and that's a true politician of the crap that they play. But the good thing is Afro-Cuban drums, Muslim prayers, Buddhist mantras, religious diversity blooms in once atheist Cuba. And if you believe this, I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
You want to sell me, yeah?
Yeah.
Sell me that bridge.
There's growing ranks of evangelicals who worship across the island in the faith of gay Christians who sing an inclusive church in a seaport of Mantas, or the pilgrims who travel a remote shrine in Cuba's patron saint. So, a country of particular concern, critics say, is falling short of religious tolerance. You know what? This is stupid. This is a stupid story. It means absolutely nothing.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, Cuba's government says criticism is an excuse for Washington to justify the decades-old embargo that dates back to the Cold War. There is a reason why we have an embargo on Cuba. Now, not saying that you can't get things from Cuba, but you have other means to do that. There's other countries that don't have an embargo, but we do have an embargo because of the money is being sent to promote communism. It's being used to promote destroying the people of that country.
Mm.
It would be like us promoting North Korea and
Yeah.
sending money to North Korea, because do you think any of that money is going to reach the people?
Oh gosh, no. No, not with little King Dong Mung.
No.
No.
That's why the media wrote a
The
dumb story.
gulags.
Stop the presses. Yes. This is the thing about it. That they are saying that, oh, well, it's all America's fault that these people are starving. And if we gave them money, then it would be America's fault for promoting a communist regime. Like, we're talking like a horrible communist regime.
Oh,
But guess
oh,
what?
I know about Cuba. Yeah, go on.
It says State Department removes Cuba from short list of countries deemed uncooperative on counterterrorism. What does it matter? What does it matter? We don't support the country. Now, the people of the country, that's a different story. A lot of those people that are coming from Cuba, winding up in Miami, they're just like, yeah, I ain't going back. Why would I go back? I'll go back whenever my
Yeah.
country is free. They still love Cuba. They don't
They
want
love
to.
their
They don't want to
country.
become.
Yeah.
They don't want to become U.S. citizens. They still maintain that they are Cubans, and they are proud to be a Cuban. They keep their culture
Yeah.
within themselves, and they want to go back to their country. It's just they are
Yes.
so oppressed. Like, it's impossible to live there. I mean, it's impossible for them to continue living there, especially if they have a view that doesn't align with them. So the more that they're promoting Cuba, you know that bad shit's about to happen here. State Department, in compliance with U.S. laws on arms exports, maintains a list of countries perceived as not cooperating fully on counterterrorism. The U.S. kept North Korea, Syria, Iran, Venezuela on the list as of Wednesday's rulings. Now, something to keep in mind: Syria, Iran, and Venezuela.
Mm.
Now, aren't those? Wait, Syria and Iran, most especially, not
Middle
no
East.
so much
Yeah.
as Venezuela. They just, you know what their primary religion is there? Oh,
It's Islam.
so does that mean that Biden has a Muslim ban?
Ah, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind whenever you're talking about the whenever people start bringing this up, and which they will be here, because next week is going to be a presidential debate, and I guess they said it's
Oh,
supposed to be here in Atlanta. Oh,
I
jeez,
watched
what a
those.
mess. And of course my family wants to do these going to, oh god, that's going to suck for them. They want to the traffic's going to suck for them, and they have no idea. Yeah, they want to go do all of these events, and me, I just don't. I'm like, yeah, go have fun. I'm not going to go do that.
In Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, they don't. I don't think they realize that that's going to be here. That the debate is going to be here. I
You
just
might
realized
want
that.
to tell them.
Nah,
Mightn't you?
nah.
Oh, you cruel git.
I mean, we were talking about North Korea before his summit with North Korea's
Oh,
Kim.
look at
Putin
him.
vows they'll beat sanctions together. Well, that is because they're part of BRICS. Isn't that right? BRICS. It's Brazil, India, China, North Korea. Yeah, like this is part
So
of
Russia.
yeah. For his supporting his actions in Ukraine, he said other
Syria.
countries will cooperate closely with overcome U.S.-led sanctions, as he headed to Pyongyang and on Tuesday for a summit with North Korean Kim Jong-un. Putin's comments appeared in an op-ed piece in North Korea state media hours before he's expected to arrive. Putin, who will be making his first trip to North Korea in 24 years, said he highly appreciates its firm support of his invasion in Ukraine. He said countries would continue to resolutely oppose what he described as Western ambitions to hinder the establishment of a multi-polarized world order based on mutual respect for justice. Now, I have to say that I don't really care for Putin too much, but I understand where
No,
he's coming from. I
I can't
really,
stand the man.
yeah, but I do understand where he's coming from. He's got big issues with Ukraine
Hmm.
going into NATO,
Yes,
and
he doesn't. Yeah.
that's what they're pushing for. And it's not that he has an objection to it, per se, but whenever he tried to become part of NATO, tried to bring Russia into becoming part of NATO, they 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 said, yeah, sure, 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 and then backed out of it. So there
I thought
was a lot of,
he was a part of NATO. That's why he vetoes everything.
I
Am
don't
I
believe that
wrong?
he's part of NATO at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must be wrong.
I could be wrong. No, I mean it's there's certain countries you have to remember that Ukraine was was dominated very much so, bred out um the Ukrainian nationals. It is run primarily by people that might have had a certain leader that have never left. Yeah.
S- s-
They might be
Certain
some,
leader that's never
yeah, a
left. Do
certain
we
leader.
talk?
He might have been a German artist. Yeah.
Oh, I
They've never
see.
left.
I see.
They've never left, and
No,
they've pretty much
no.
dominated that country. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a certain group of people that don't really like another group of people, and they might be predominantly there in Ukraine. They might be running part of the country and have been for a long
Yeah.
time. Just saying.
Okay. Just saying. I just
Just
checking up because I want to correct myself. In March 2015 is
oh, go
when
back further. Go back
they
further.
Russia left NATO.
Yeah, because of the if I'm not mistaken, it was the policies that they were putting on to them, and they were just like, yeah, these are not good. No, I would say go back much further, because the stuff that's been going on between Ukraine and Russia has been going on for quite some time. There was
Oh
there
yeah,
was
I mean we're going to go Crimea and all
oh yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, this.
So it's always going to be contentious there in that particular area, and I, like I said, I don't agree with everything about Putin, but whenever it comes to the stuff that's going on with Ukraine, there is no reason whatsoever that the United States should be anywhere near that at all.
Well,
If it's a European problem, then the EU needs to step all their countries in there, and they need to take care of that stuff on their own turf. This is their land. They need to be stepping up and doing what they feel is right. But the US should not be involved in this at all. For one,
this
Ukraine
is
is not an ally. They are coming to the US begging for money because we have a lot of money. The bad part about this is a lot of the money that they're getting from the US is being funneled back into the US through Biden's brothers, family members. There's a reason why Hunter Biden is going to be in front of another court for tax evasion for $1.2 million. That's the tax bill of unpaid taxes. Biden
yeah.
administration pulled in over 20 million. The Biden family has pulled in over 20 million just in the past. What, let's see, in what was it, 2000 and whatever, about the time that Biden went over and had a certain person stop looking at his son, and then those people just sort of disappeared. There's a reason why Sam Bankman-Fried made a hell of a lot of money,
Hmm.
because the money that was being sent from the US, the taxpayers was being sent to Ukraine, that money was being funneled back in through Bitcoin. Bitcoin,
Yes.
and once it was being funneled back in purchasing Bitcoin, which Sam Bankman-Fried was then in turn taking some of the proceeds from that and putting it back towards politicians that were supporting Ukraine. So they would send more money to Ukraine.
He
Ukraine
got
would,
done, didn't he? Sam Friedman.
yeah,
Friedman.
he's
What's
he's
his
going to be in
name?
prison for a while. Sam
Hmm.
Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a pawn in all of this. They used the hell out of him, and he got busted because he's crazy. Now, and I say this not to put light on any sort of thing that Russia is doing, because I think they should stop this stuff, but I do understand why they are doing it. We've got bad actors in Ukraine that are using the US and the taxpayers' money to basically fund a war. And it's not just
Yeah.
funding the war. Very little of that is going to the Ukrainian people. It is filling the pockets of Ukrainian officials that are in turn fleeing the damn country and converting that money into Bitcoin and into other things. And then they're sending that offshore where nobody can touch it.
Yeah,
And in
yeah.
the
I see what.
meantime,
No,
they're
I
going,
get exactly what you're saying.
yes,
I hear everything you're saying, and I see your point of view. I do. It's any war, to be honest. Sometimes I think, why are we involved? Why are we involved? The Brits. Why are we now being
yeah.
dragged into this war? What's this got to do with us? And
Well,
yeah,
you know why the
there's
US is
plenty of
involved
times
in
I've
it?
said that
It's money.
because of
That's
us,
it.
probably.
Because you're able to produce, your country is producing weapons that in turn Ukraine will purchase. Ukraine will purchase those weapons so they can fire those rockets, launchers, guns, bullets, whatever at
Yeah.
Russia. So basically it's a proxy war that the rest of the
Mm.
world is paying for to disrupt Russia. Now you understand why Russia's a little bit pissed off at the rest of the world for being asshole. Because he's sitting there going, you guys are funding this. The US, the West is funding this freaking war. If they would stop doing this, we can come to a peace agreement, which is what they wanted to do in the first place. Because whenever Russia pulled out of there and said, okay, we're gonna talk ceasefire, we're gonna do this, guess what Ukraine turned around and did? They started firing missiles back into Russia as soon as they backed off. And they were
Yeah, I've
just like,
heard that both sides, mind Shizzy. I've
they're
heard
just like,
that
yeah,
from
we're not
both
playing it.
sides.
Exactly.
Like the Russians did it back, said ceasefire, and then they shot through Ukraine. To me, I just look at the innocent civilians, like you were just talking about people in Cuba.
Exactly.
That
It is,
just
and
they
those are the
love their
people that are
country. They
suffering.
want their country, and it's those that
Mhm.
suffer. And to me, that's what upsets me. I mean, I obviously, yeah,
Exactly.
I understand what you're saying about the money and the arms and all of that. Just the
It's not
innocence of it.
it's not the leaders. It's not the leaders that are going to suffer for it.
No,
And there was a song, I think it was written back in the 70s by this really cool band out of the UK called Black Sabbath, called War Pigs. I mean,
I
just
love a bit of
saying.
Black Sabbath.
Hell yeah, just saying. That is the gist of all of this. Is, as much as they talk about these leaders coming over and doing stuff, what does North Korea have to do with this? Well, because North Korea is sending missiles over to Russia, and Russia in turn is using
Yep,
those missiles to fire into Ukraine. I
yep.
mean, and all of this on the United States part could have been averted, but they didn't want to avert it. And the reason the United States didn't want to avert it, because the military complex of it makes too much damn money off of the suffering of Russian, Ukrainians, of causing disruption throughout the world. War is big money.
No,
War is
yeah.
big money, and instead of building an economy, it's much easier for them to destroy. It's much easier for people to go after each other. But
Yeah.
the good news is, the
Go
good
on,
news.
tell me the good news. I want
I've
good
got
news.
I've got good news. Give me just a second while I pull this up. Perfectly preserved century-old cherries unearthed at George Washington's Mount Vernon location. George Washington never did cut down the cherry tree, despite the famous story, but he did pack away quite a few bottles of the fruit at his Mount Vernon home. See, they found a whole bunch of cherries there. Dozens of bottles of cherries and berries, and possibly preserved in storage pits uncovered from the cellar of his mansion on the banks of the Potomac River. I've been there to that
Whoa.
place, where discovered during an archaeological dig connected to a restoration project. Jason Burroughs, Mount Vernon's principal archaeologist, said the discovery of much preserved fruit from more than 250 years ago is essentially unprecedented. Finding was essentially fresh fruit 250 years later is pretty spectacular, Burroughs said in an interview. All the stars sort of have to align in the right manner for that to happen. Whole pieces of fruit, recognizable as cherries, were found in some of the bottles. Other bottles, what appeared to be gooseberries, which are pretty damn tasty, are currants.
Nice.
Through testing is underway to confirm that. Mount Vernon is partnering with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is conducting DNA testing on the fruit. They are also examining more than 50 cherry pits recovered from the bottles to see if any of them can be planted. Now, just think, if you
Are they
had
doing
50
DNA
cherry
testing on
pits,
cherries?
well, I mean, who's cherry we DNA testing? No, if you're finding 50 cherry pits, now just imagine how much money that would bring. How much money one of those cherry pits would bring. I mean, it's like finding a virgin.
Oh, I think it's fascinating. It's like when they found things from the blitz at the ground. Little jars of things people had buried. I find it fascinating.
Yeah,
But you're so bad. You are.
I know. Uh, so Benjamin, why are you? Oh, Jesus, wife, I love you, but I am not listening to you send me like 20 different messages over nothing. No, she's just letting me know that something is happening that can last. She does this
forgot the
as a
shivvy.
reminder. I love my wife, but sometimes I'm like on this group text where they're texting back and forth like ridiculous
Yeah.
crap. And it's
Yeah, I
like
got a
every
family
15
chat.
seconds. And I'm just like, I have got nothing to say on this matter, but like your watch goes off or the phone is going off and I'm in the middle of working. I'm like,
Yeah, family group chat. So then it's like me, my mom, my dad, we're all TikTok.
exactly. So the quality of preservation reflect the
I
high
love it
caliber
though.
work. Now, you have to remember that slaves ran the plantation's kitchen. The kitchen was overseen by enslaved women named Doll, who came to Mount Vernon in 1758 with Martha Washington. And also, he freed all of his slaves. That was part of him. Then this was before, any Washington or Lincoln. I mean, years,
Lincoln, yeah.
decades before. Yeah. He said, no, once I'm gone, like, you guys are free to do whatever. There's a reason why you'll find a lot of black folks that do have the last name Washington is because they were able to take his name whenever they left. That's pretty honorable, I think. The enslaved folks were taking care of the trees, picking the fruit, working the kitchen. It would have been those folks who probably would have overseen and done this process. It's a highly skilled process. Well, yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't just have survived this way. The bottles were found only because Mount Vernon is doing a $40 million revitalization project of the mansion that they expect to be completed by the nation's 250th birthday in 2026. When we do archaeology, it's destructive. So unless we have a reason to disturb those resources, we tend not to. In this case, because of these needed structural repairs to the mansion, the ground was going to be disturbed, so we looked there first. We didn't expect to find all this. They know the bottles predate 1775 because that's when an expansion of the mansion led to an area being covered over with a brick floor. Mount Vernon announced back in April at the start of the archaeological work that it had found 2 bottles. As the dig continued, the number increased to 35 in distinct storage pits. 6 of the bottles were broken, with another 29 intact. 12 held cherries, 16 held other berries believed to be currants and gooseberries, and 1 larger bottle held both cherries and other berries. Burroughs believes that they have now uncovered all the cherries and berries that survive. Oh, so is
That's
that sort of like
amazing.
they found twigs and berries buried in bottles?
Yeah, but that's
Or the-
amazing. Of all those cherries. You
oh,
know, that's
they
fantastic.
so they found 29
Fascinating.
bottles intact, not 19. So they did make a correction. So initially they said there were 19, but it looks like there were 29 bottles that were found
Wow.
intact. Speaking of intact, it is that time of day that we are going to send all you fine folks over to somebody else that is probably streaming. I hope they're still streaming, because that would really suck if I send you over there like I did the other night, where I sent everyone over to
Well,
Tug,
thank
and Tug had already ended his stream.
Yeah, he was on that, yeah.
You
I
know,
went there.
I
I thought, what's going on?
I do this damn quite often, where I send people somewhere and the stream has ended. And I'm like, why me?
Thank
Why
you
do
for
I have to
having me
screw
on
this up?
today.
No, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
No, I
Um,
appreciate the invite. You'll have to look at my
no.
Valhalla stuff, mind. Well,
Yes, yes. Well, we will go over that. Oh yeah, she is still streaming. So we're going to send all you fine folks over to Mo. Make sure that you've hit that like, you've subscribed. Make sure that you subscribe to Welsh Lady. Make
Thank
sure that
you.
you've done that. And all of the other fine people that are out there, hit the like button whenever you come in or when you go out, one of the two, but you got to hit it sometime. Like hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it
Hit it,
hard.
chat.
Cheers.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.